Chosen one. Take a breath before you continue. Slow down. Let your shoulders relax. Let the noise of the world fade into the background. Because if you found this video, not by searching, not by accident, not because someone sent it to you, but because something inside you felt pulled, then this message is not entertainment. It is confirmation. There is an unspoken power living inside you. A power that never needed words. A power that never announced itself. A power that was never meant to be explained to everyone. And the reason it feels unspoken is because it was never designed to be understood by the crowd. Chosen one, most people live their entire lives without ever touching the depth you carry quietly every day. You've felt it. That weight behind your chest. That pressure behind your eyes. That knowing without proof. You don't talk about it because you learned early. When you speak about it, people misunderstand you. They minimize it. They mock it. Or worse, they try to drain it. So you learn silence. Not because you are weak, but because your soul is ancient enough to know when something must be protected. And today, this message found you because that unspoken power is beginning to stir. From the beginning you sensed it. Even as a child, you felt out of place, not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, confusing one. You didn't fit into shallow conversations. You didn't feel energized by chaos. You didn't resonate with cruelty, competition, or empty validation. People may have called you too deep, too sensitive, too quiet, too serious. But what they were really noticing was depth they couldn't access. You were never meant to be loud to be powerful. You were never meant to dominate rooms. You were never meant to explain yourself endlessly. Your power was internal, subtle, observant, intuitive. You noticed things others missed, shifts in tone, changes in energy, hidden motives, unspoken pain. And early on, you learned something painful. Not everyone is safe for your truth. So you adapted? You learned how to stay silent without shrinking. You learned how to observe without absorbing. You learned how to walk through the world unseen, yet untouched. That was not weakness. That was training. Chosen one. There is a weight on you that most people will never notice. Not because it isn't real, but because it does not exist in the physical world. It exists inside. You've tried to explain it before, haven't you? But the words never felt right. So eventually, you stopped trying. Because how do you explain a heaviness that doesn't come from failure? Doesn't come from overwork? Doesn't come from sadness? Yet still presses on your spirit day after day? This is not the weight of depression. This is not the weight of exhaustion. This is the weight of carrying something sacred without instruction. You wake up tired even when you sleep. You feel drained even after doing nothing. You feel responsible even when no one asked you to be. And quietly, very quietly, you've wondered, why does life feel heavier for me than it does for others? Chosen one. It's because you are not just living. You are holding. From a very early age, you learned how to sense what others were feeling. Before they spoke. Before they admitted it. Before they even understood it themselves. You could feel tension in a room the moment you walked in. You could feel when someone was lying, not logically, but instinctively. You could feel sadness hiding behind smiles. And without realizing it, you began to absorb. Not intentionally. Not consciously. It just happened. You carried the emotional weight of families, friendships, workplaces, strangers. You became the listener, the stabilizer, the quiet support system. And because you were strong enough to hold it, life kept placing more on you. But here's what no one ever told you. Being able to carry weight does not mean it was meant to be yours. Chosen one, think back. There were times you slept for hours, yet woke up still exhausted. There were times you took breaks, yet felt no relief. There were times you were doing fine on the outside, but felt like something inside you was slowly being compressed. That is because spiritual weight does not release through sleep. It releases through understanding. And you were carrying power without context. A soul without explanation. A calling without language. A depth without validation. That creates pressure. Pressure creates fatigue. And fatigue, when misunderstood, makes you question yourself. You wondered if something was wrong with you. Nothing was wrong. You were simply overloaded with unspoken purpose. This is something few people talk about. Even in happy moments. Even during success. Even when things were going well. There was still a subtle weight. A quiet seriousness behind your joy. A sense that something deeper was always present. That's because your spirit never forgets its assignment. Even when your mind tries to relax. You could laugh. But still feel aware. You could celebrate. But still feel watchful. You could rest. But still feel alert. That is not anxiety. That is consciousness beyond survival. You were never meant to fully switch off, like others. Your awareness was trained early. Have you noticed? People lean on you. Open up to you. Tell you things they don't tell anyone else. Sometimes without asking. Sometimes without warning. They feel safe with you. Even when they don't know why. But after those interactions, you feel heavier. Not because you're weak, but because you held space. And holding space costs energy. Especially when you were never taught how to release it. So you walked through life with invisible spiritual weight on your shoulders. Still functioning, still giving, still showing up. But slowly accumulating pressure. And because no one else could see it, you learned to normalize it. You told yourself, this is just how life is. It's not. It's how life feels when you are carrying power without boundaries. Chosen one. Hear this carefully. This weight was not placed on you to crush you. It was placed on you to strengthen containment. Just like deep oceans carry pressure without collapsing. Your soul was being trained to hold depth without leaking. You were learning resilience without bitterness. Strength without arrogance. Endurance without hardness. That is rare. Most people break under pressure. Or they harden. You did neither. You stayed soft. You stayed observant. You stayed human. That alone tells you who you are. Recently, something has begun to change. The weight feels different. Not gone, but redistributing. You may feel moments of clarity followed by release. Moments of detachment from things that once drained you. Moments where you finally choose yourself, without guilt. This is because you are no longer meant to carry blindly. Your power is becoming conscious. And conscious power is lighter. Not because it is weaker, but because it is aligned. You are learning discernment. You are learning boundaries. You are learning that not everything deserves access to your depth. That alone removes enormous weight. Chosen one. You were never lazy. You were never broken. You were never too much. You were overburdened with unrecognized spiritual responsibility. And now, that season is ending. You are still powerful, still deep, still aware. But you are no longer required to carry what was never yours to begin with. And this is why, as this weight begins to lift, people around you may feel the shift before you do. Because when a chosen one stops carrying excess weight, their presence changes. And that is what we are about to talk about next. Silence was not punishment. It was protection. If your power had awakened too early, the wrong people would have tried to control it, explode it, distract it, dilute it. So life slowed you down. You experienced isolation, not because you were abandoned, but because your spirit needed space to mature. You lost people. You outgrew environments. You felt unseen. But in that silence, something rare happened. Your power learned self-containment. You learned how to be alone without becoming empty. You learned how to stand without applause. You learned how to exist without permission. That is why now, even when people don't understand you, you no longer chase explanation. Your soul already knows. Chosen one. There is something unusual about the way your power moves. It does not announce itself. It does not interrupt rooms. It does not compete for space. In a world addicted to noise, your power is quiet. And because of that, many people underestimated you. But silence was never absence. Silence was containment. You see, real power does not need to be proven. It does not need applause to exist. It does not need validation to function. False power is loud because it is fragile. True power is still because it is rooted. And you have always been rooted. From early on, you noticed something different about yourself. You didn't crave attention the way others did. You didn't feel energized by being watched. You didn't feel fulfilled by surface-level praise. You may have enjoyed appreciation, but you never needed to perform for it. Deep down, you understood something instinctively. If I have to announce it, it's probably not real. So you let others talk. You let others shine. You let others compete. Not because you were afraid, but because your spirit was secure. And security does not rush. Have you noticed what happens when you enter a space? You don't say much. Yet the room shifts. Conversations slow down. Voices soften. People become more aware of themselves. Some feel calmer around you. Others feel exposed. That's because your power operates through presence, not personality. You don't dominate energy. You stabilize it. And stability makes unstable people uncomfortable. So some will try to provoke you. Others will try to ignore you. A few will try to drain you. But none can deny the shift. You've always been sensitive to noise. Not just sound, but energetic noise. Over-explaining. Over-proving. Over-displaying. It felt unnecessary. Exhausting. Empty. You could sense when people were compensating. When they were loud because they were unsure. When they were aggressive because they were afraid. And your soul refused to mimic that. You didn't want power that needed defense. You wanted power that could stand silently. And that is exactly what you carry. This is why people often react to you in subtle ways. They may watch you closely without knowing why. Feel drawn to you but hesitant to approach. Feel challenged without being confronted. Your power is not confrontational. It is revealing. It brings things to the surface without force. And people either respect that or resist it. Chosen one, competition never made sense to you. Not because you doubted yourself, but because your path was never comparative. You don't measure yourself against others. You don't feel threatened by other people's success. You don't feel the urge to outshine. Because deep inside you know, what's mine cannot be taken. Your power is not scalable. It is not replicable. It is not transferable. So why compete? You walk your own rhythm, at your own pace, with your own timing. And that timing has always been precise. Some people thought your silence meant weakness. They mistook your restraint for fear, your observation for passivity, your calm for indifference. They spoke louder around you. They tried to dominate conversations. They assumed you wouldn't respond. And sometimes, you didn't. Not because you couldn't, but because you didn't need to. You understood something they didn't. Power chooses when to move. But when you do speak, it lands. Your words carry weight. Your timing carries impact. Your presence carries authority. People remember what you say. They feel it long after the moment passes. Because your voice is not cluttered with excess. It is intentional, measured, true. And truth never needs volume. Chosen one, your power was never meant to impress. It was meant to guide, to ground, to hold space. You influence without manipulation. You lead without force. You protect without aggression. That is ancient power. And ancient power always moves quietly. You don't need to become louder to be more powerful. You don't need to explain yourself to be understood. You don't need to prove anything to be valid. You are already enough. Because your power is internalized. And as this power continues to mature, you will begin to notice something else. Some people will feel uncomfortable around you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your stillness exposes what they hide. And that is what we will speak about next. Have you noticed? People think they understand you until they don't. They assume they have you figured out until you surprise them by not reacting the way they expected. This is because your power does not live on the surface. You don't reveal everything. You don't react impulsively. You don't show your full depth to unearned access. Your spirit speaks selectively, and that confuses people who rely on predictability to feel safe. They cannot manipulate what they cannot read, so they label you mysterious, distant, hard to understand. But in truth, you are disciplined with access. Right now, something is shifting. You may feel it as restlessness, a pull toward purpose, a desire to withdraw and realign. Old patterns no longer satisfy you. Old distractions feel hollow. Old identities feel tight. This is not loss. This is activation. Your unspoken power is surfacing, not to make you louder, but to make you clearer. Clearer boundaries. Clearer direction. Clearer discernment. You are no longer available for what drains you, and that will offend people who benefited from your silence. Let them go. This message did not find you because you are searching. It found you because you are ready. Ready to stop doubting your inner knowing. Ready to stop shrinking your presence. Ready to stop apologizing for depth. You don't need to announce your power. You need to honor it. And honoring it begins with trust. Chosen one. Before you do anything else, pause. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it gently, and release it slowly. Do that again. Let the weight you've been carrying soften, not disappear, but settle. Because what you carry is not leaving you. It is integrating. You have walked a long road without recognition. You have carried depth without language. You have held power without permission. And yet, you are still here. Still soft. Still aware. Still open. That alone confirms who you are. Not everyone survives the path you've walked without becoming bitter. You didn't harden. You refined. I recognize the power within me. I no longer doubt what I feel. I trust what I carry. I honor my depth. I move with intention. I release the need to explain myself. I release the urge to be understood by everyone. I release what was never mine to carry. I allow clarity to replace confusion. I allow stillness to replace noise. I allow alignment to replace pressure. From this moment forward, you do not rush. You do not chase. You do not force. You observe. You discern. You choose. Your presence becomes your language. Your boundaries become your protection. Your silence becomes your strength. Let people misunderstand you. What is aligned will recognize you without explanation. Your power does not need proof. It does not need witnesses. It does not need validation. It exists because you exist. It is activated when you honor it, not when you perform it. Notice how your body feels right now. Notice the calm behind your thoughts. Notice the steadiness behind your breath. Notice the quiet confidence settling in. That is not imagination. That is alignment. You are coming back into yourself. Chosen one. You were never late. You were never behind. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared quietly, while the world was distracted loudly. And now, you move differently. You listen more than you speak. You feel more than you react. You trust more than you doubt. That is maturity. That is mastery. Carry your power gently. Protect it wisely. Use it intentionally. Not everyone will understand you, and that is no longer your concern. Your only responsibility now is to stay aligned with yourself. And as you do, life will begin to meet you differently. If this message reached you, it means you were ready to receive it. Nothing more needs to be done. Nothing needs to be proven. Simply continue forward. with awareness. You are protected. You are guided. You are activated. Chosen one, before you go, I want to speak to the givers, the ones whose hearts feel called to pour back into the vessel that pours into them. If this message awakened you, if it strengthened you, if it spoke to your spirit in a way only heaven could orchestrate, then I invite you, only if your heart feels led, to sow a $1 seed into this channel. Not because God needs it, but because giving is a spiritual law. A small seed carries big obedience. And God multiplies what is given with pure intention. Your $1 keeps this ministry alive, keeps the messages flowing, and helps this word reach the next chosen one who needs it. If you feel that nudge in your spirit, if you feel that gentle pull, you can plant your $1 seed using the link in the description. And if you can't or don't feel led, you are still loved, still seen, and still covered. Blessings to every giver, and blessings to every listener. Your seed moves heaven in ways you may never see. But God sees it all.